Hey guys, Akiba back for the next episode of the SlateCast. Today, after everything that's been going on within CeFi recently, we thought it'd be good to catch up with someone focusing on the DeFi industry. So we've got Emile from XDEFI here today, and it's going to be super interesting. We're going to get into some really interesting elements around DeFi versus CeFi, the UX experience around DeFi and multi-chain wallets, and also some stuff around FTX, 3AC, and Do Kwon. I'm going to run the intro and then we will get straight to the interview. Stick. Neil, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, good man. Thanks for receiving me.
No, thanks for being on. So, you're from XDeFi, which is a multi-chain wallet. You're focusing on the sort of DeFi ecosystem. How are things going for you at the moment? Obviously, there's been a lot of things within CeFi showing the lack of trust within the industry. We're seeing record inflows into DeFi as a result. What's your sort of view on the current situation in the market?
Well, I mean, the market itself, obviously, isn't really great, right? I think we mid after a bear market, right? I think it's quite obvious to anyone. I think that whatever happened with the different large CeFi platforms that have fallen is probably going to continue over the next few months. I'm not sure whether the contagion risk has been contained so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if other big players collapse. Obviously, I don't want to sound so bearish, but I mean this is what I think.
I'm with you on that. I'm watching very closely the Genesis situation from people close to the matter, which is all I can say. There's definitely some lack of confidence in DCG at the moment. So I'm definitely looking at that as a potential another black swan for the sort of the VC CeFi side of things. And I know that one of the things I wanted to ask you about is CryptoSlate interviewed you back in November 2021, and you mentioned then that you are heavily involved in sort of the Terra ecosystem. And offline, you mentioned that actually you had a minority investment from FTX, Do Kwon, and a subsidiary of 3AC. So this must have been quite a difficult year overall for you guys. How have you managed to weather this storm, and what sort of risk management have you been able to put in place to be able to weather that storm?
Yeah, so there are a lot of components to it. I wouldn't say it was a bad year for us, and I'll explain why. But yeah, we did have Do Kwon as an angel investor. We had Alameda as a minor investor too, and we had Defiance Capital, which isn't 3AC. I think they're more victims than anything from the from the 3AC situation, but it's linked to it. But not directly correlated really. But yeah, from Terra, look, we were already supporting a lot of chains. There was an overlap between the Tor chain and the Terra communities. Obviously, we always listen to our community when it comes to adding a new ecosystem. We were close to the Terra projects in general. The founders were great. And I think sorry, let me just cut off my phone. We really wanted to take part with this ecosystem. We saw it as a massive opportunity for us. So we spend a lot of time not just integrating Terra, but also adding the deposit of UST via Anchor directly within the wallets, etc. Doing anything that we can to promote other projects really of this ecosystem. So the beauty of being multi-chain is that we have natural hedge against platform risk, right? So if there is one chain that we support that goes down, well, we're still supporting 14, 15 chains. So at the end of the day, yes, it's annoying because we spend a lot of resources in developing and supporting the ecosystem. And obviously it's heartbreaking for all the people that got wrecked. But for us as a wallet, since we're multi-chain, we don't really have this single point of failure that other wallets that are only focusing on one chain have really. So that's the good side of things. Now, we had a part of the treasury in Anchor. I mean, I don't sleep much. I work a lot. Same for my co-founders. And when we saw the UST pegging, We decided at 0.98 to take everything out, not to take any risks. And we did, by the time it was like 0.96, something like that. So we had like a really small loss, but nothing material really. So we got lucky. A lot of other projects went not as lucky. And
I feel that that's maybe underestimating yourself there by saying it's lucky, because that shows actual risk management, which I think is, in all honesty, one of the biggest learnings I feel of 2022 is that crypto is a risk-on asset in a lot of instances, and that requires proper risk management and understanding what's going on. Is sorry, is there anything specifically in your business that you have in terms of a risk management procedure that you feel that kept you ahead of, or is it just common sense from your point of view?
I mean, look, my background is traditional finance. I started in traditional finance. I've traded for years, options, like plenty of different products. So risk management is also part of like the way I think. And I think that like when things goes to shit, I generally apply the rule, well, better panic early and better be paranoid. And that's what I'm trying to apply, like whether it's kind of my personal life, but also like with XDEFI wallet. So we didn't want to take any risks. This is important. That's the funds that are going to pay the salaries of my employees. I mean, like and colleagues. So this is not something you can really like fuck around. So yeah, I think it's just for us to be paranoid. So we never really had funds on centralized exchanges. We kind of like do what we preach, right? We're a decentralized wallet. So we have like most of our funds on multisigs. We have on bank accounts that we've obviously made our due diligence on. We have like a little bit on centralized exchange, but like that's really tiny portion of like our treasury, and that's always going to be the same, right? We have a good opsec. We've been in the industry for like 7-8 years, both they and myself. So yeah, we're trying to make sure that like everything we do is with in mind, like protecting the capital that we have and like being able to leverage it through a thick and thin. Today we have like around $15 million in USD, okay, left in the treasury, which is great. Again, I think we're lucky to have these funds because not a lot of projects have that. So that can allow us to run the company with a 40+ people team for almost 2.5 years. So it's great. And I guess yeah, we're just being super careful. A lot of people have fun on FTX and stuff, so it's pretty sad, but it is what it is.
So what would be your advice to people that are currently a little bit nervous about the crypto industry and how they can either continue to stay involved or start to get involved in a way that would help to restore some trust for them?
Well, as you said, I think like after everything that happened this year, whether it's like FTX, BlockFi, Voyager, or Luna, a lot of retail were wrecked, and I think it's going to take time for them to come back. And same for NFTs, really. So I would say that like if you're someone that lost a lot of funds and you're still interested and you just arrived in the last cycle, maybe it's time for you to actually like start from the basics, right? So just like learn more about everything, try to understand better the risks that are associated with the protocols you're interacting with the platform you're using, and in general, like try to improve your opsec, try to have some kind of like idea about how to manage your risk, take profits when you can, and don't buy into like the super cycle thesis when things start getting crazy bullish. I'll be honest, like on a personal basis, like I could have made much more last bull run, but I was kind of like conservative, and I guess like I took profits like early on. I don't regret it like in retrospect really, but I think it's important to kind of like know that like at some point everything goes down, so we kind of like need to keep this in mind. And you were talking about the market, but for me it's much more than just the crypto market, right? Macro is not good. I think 23 like it's going to be like a really bad year for equities that will have an impact on crypto. I don't know how bad is going to be the impact, but like the real economy is going to suffer. I think we start seeing people that have less money from post-COVID situation, and it's going to be hard like on in general. Like you have inflation, you have a lot of components that are going to be like impactful to the real economy next year, and that's going to have an impact on crypto as well. So it's not just like
sure. For sure. And I think One of the interesting areas, though, and you're seeing it at the moment, is within every bear cycle, and this isn't just in crypto. This is in, like equities and sort of tech in general. A lot of great innovation comes within bear markets, and it's a good time to build. When you go to conferences, when you talk to developers, like companies that have set the right foundations, like yourselves, like you say, you've still got a healthy treasury right now. You've got a healthy treasury in a bear market where things are quieter and there's time to develop and improve. I think it actually sets up a really good platform to get things right, and improve the things that we need to improve on. And one of those things that I'm seeing definitely, and has been a big trend at the moment, is around improving the user experience, especially within DeFi. And I know this is an area where you guys have been looking to improve. So what areas in terms of the user experience have you been focusing on, and where do you think we can do better?
So, okay, so there are different components here as well. So I think for us, it was always the objective to kind of like help people to migrate from SEX to a non-custodial solution, right? The thing is that like obviously the user experience on SEX is like much better than like on a non-custodial wallet. Per se. Now, for me, it starts by being multi-chain because, like, when you are using a SEX, you don't really think about, chains. You kind of like more focus on tokens or assets, and this is exactly what we've tried to do, like in the last 2.5 years with the wallet itself, trying to abstract the concept of chain, trying to make it easier for people to actually navigate across Web3 without having to care about having 5 different wallets, having to change the network at the top of your wallet every time you want to look at all your balances. And reconcile, like at the end, manually your balances and so on. So that's something we've been focusing on from the beginning. Then I think during the last bull market, what we're building is pretty complicated from a chain perspective. So we didn't really have a chance to go and kind of attack like isolated ecosystems where you have like Phantom, MetaMask, or TerraStation or Kepler that are only focusing on one network and one ecosystem, and can have like a better user experience, obviously, because they don't have to care like about other chains. So what we've done is that we've been collecting feedback from community for the last 12 months. We've been working on a new UX UI that is going to be released in the next 2 to 3 weeks before Christmas, which is already going to be much better than what we had before. It's going to be much easier to navigate across protocols and networks. I'll give you some silly examples that do not seem big, but are actually pretty important. For instance, when you use XDEFI wallet, you have all your assets in your homepage. You don't need to change like the network at the top, like in MetaMask, right? Now, if you have like, I don't know, USDC on different networks, like as of now with XDEFI wallet, you're going to have USDC Polygon, USDC Ethereum, USDC Avalanche, whatever. What we've done in the new UX is that like you're going to have one single balance for all your USDC, because you don't really care on which network it is at the end of the day. You just want to know how much USDC you have. So you're going to have your USDC, 10,000 USDC, click on it, break down, which network is it and how it's allocated. It's pretty simple, but like it's actually quite complicated to do. So we had to build our own API to actually do this. And other things such as, for instance, when you are using a non-custodial wallet and you receive a token, you basically need to add it before you can see your token in its balance. So sometimes like people that are not necessarily like super friendly with how work on non-custodial wallet, they kind of freak out. And we have a lot of that like in our support chats. So what we've done is, again, thanks to our API, we can scan addresses. We know that like if you have like just received like, I don't know, in the last 10 hours, a token on a given address, we can say, okay, do you want to add this token or not to the wallet? And you have a notification, and you know that you've received that. Like, and I think pretty important.
That's really interesting, because some of the other solutions that I've seen where the wallet will just automatically add the token can actually be kind of dangerous, because you get a lot of like dusting tokens where you look at it and you go, oh, all of a sudden your balance goes up to like $1 million because there's some sort of fake token in there. And then people will try and sell it thinking, oh, this is too good to be true. And then there's some sort of exploit. So is that the reason why you've added the notification in there, so that they have to confirm?
Absolutely. Same for NFTs. So at first, we were like, the community was suggesting to basically auto add it, but we're like, yeah, but at the same time, there are some like, downsides to that. So we decided to actually have a notification system, which is much easier. And at least you don't have to then like kind of like, clean out your NFT, for instance, like screen or your asset screen. You just need upon receiving the asset to, accept it.
Yeah, my Trust wallet is an absolute mess when you look at the NFT section for that reason. The amount of Polygon-based crap that I get sent on a daily basis, it's just a nightmare. So within the NFT section, how does that get managed? Because I think with Trust Wallet, there's just the option to hide or not, and it doesn't seem the UX from my point of view is actually quite poor. So what sort of your sort of portfolio aspect to the NFT side there?
So we're supporting NFT for like I think 6 or 7 chains now, and we're adding more support soon, which is pretty interesting. And also we're abstracting, right? So you have like all your NFT in one place, doesn't matter on which network they're sitting. Now it's exactly the same for token really. So right now it's similar to Trust Wallet. You're gonna have to hide them or not. Like this is something you can do already, but then like you won't have to do that. You will basically be able to actually like say, no, I don't want this NFT. I've never been sent that. I have no idea where it comes from, and basically not have it displayed in the first place. Now, the other things that we could do is, for instance, I don't know, like burn NFTs, which is something else that we could do. Like it's not something that we're going to do just now because it has other implications. We've seen Phantom doing that with Solana, but on EVM networks it has other implications. So we're going to see if we do this or not. And the other thing is that like we can also have like blacklisted address, which have been reported, and we can feed like a database of addresses that are known for sending like scammed NFTs or assets really, and block them.
Fascinating. I think improved user experience is something that is really needed for bringing people on into the space. What sort of challenges are you finding for how you frame the user experience to people that are non-crypto native? Because I do think this is a real challenge of how much needs to be explained and how much education you need without kind of scaring people away. Because like you think of say Web 2, like there's a lot of stuff within Web 2 that is highly technical and is in the back end, and like you don't need to say when Facebook launches a new product, it doesn't talk about how it's built in React Native and it's got all this fantastic complicated stuff. They just talk about the usability of it. So how are you addressing that side for people that are new to the space, mainly in education, but you don't want to overwhelm them?
So I think it depends which client you're using, right? So we have 3 clients right now. We have 2 products that are live. The extension that has been live for more than a year, okay, which is essentially like a vehicle, right? It's here to take you from point A to point B. It means that like you already have like, you already have some knowledge about Web3, right? If you're using an extension, generally like you're going to use it like to interact with different dApps. So you kind of know what you're doing, and it's like not a destination itself. It's really like purely a vehicle that needs to be like fast, reliable, and secure, and basically bring you to from somewhere to somewhere. Now, the extension, we've tried to abstract as much as we could, like the concept of chain, and also like added features and polish the UX in a way that like it's as intuitive as it gets. And obviously, we're going to continue to like iterate on that. But I think that like for the people that are migrating from or just getting into crypto and directly like using a wallet such as ours, the real client that is going to be used is the mobile wallet. So I'll give you an example. I don't know, like last Christmas, I offered NFTs to my family. And they were like, okay, cool. Can I see it in your wallet? I was like, yeah, you can download the wallet. And they were like, okay, so I cannot find it on my iPhone. I was like, yeah, because we have an extension for now. And they're like, what is an extension? So, okay, you already lost them. So the thing is that like, I think we have like different audience, like, right? Like the extension is going to be for people that already have like a little bit of knowledge and people that are ready to learn. And the mobile app is going to be more for people that are, not necessarily that friendly with crypto from the get-go. And once, so we finished the UX UI of the mobile app. We started development actually this week of the mobile app. And we're aiming to release it in Q1 next year. But essentially, like the first thing I've told to the UX designers when we first like scoped out like the flows of the mobile app is like try to design it as your grandmom would use it, because this is the client that people are going to use for XDEFI and with the less knowledge about crypto. So that's exactly what we've done. We try to kind of like abstract the complexity of backing up your wallet and so on with cloud-based backing and biometric signing and stuff like that. So there will be lots done on the mobile app to really cater for this audience. The web app is much more execution oriented for degens and so on. It can be used by anyone, obviously, but I think the mobile app is going to be the first point of entrance, and then we're going to have like the extension and then the web app, and people are kind of like going to use this like in combination. So if you're a degen, you're probably going to use the 3 of them. If you like someone that is a bit more of a normie, you're probably going to stay on the mobile app until you're ready to actually look into a more agile solution such as the extension.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. To say, from a mobile point of view, I Yeah, I struggle to find something that works well for me, and it looks like you're kind of maybe solving some of those issues. So I'm gonna be super excited about trying that one. So you say Q1? We looking early Q1, late Q1? You unsure yet?
I can't as that dev talk. I don't know. Like let's say late Q1. Let's say late Q1. Like there was a lot of work to be done on it. The team works well. I mean, they ship fast, but yeah, like I'd say you'll have a beta by the end of Q1, and some people will be able to start using it for a few months before we release that.
Fantastic. Well, before we sign off, I think one thing I'd just like to come back to a little bit is this sort of difference between sort of CeFi and DeFi. And again, looking at those, you sort of talk about building the app for like even your grandparents can use. How far away do you think these are experiences within DeFi to actually be able to be targeted to people that are new to the space and are not just degens?
I mean, there is. I mean, that's a debate, right? Like the fact that like you're in control of your keys is always gonna basically like have you rely on like being able to like understand like the concept of private key or seed phrases, and we can abstract that as much as we can. But ultimately, I think this is like a concept that will need some education, and people will have to learn about it. And I do, I hear like other projects like trying to kind of like abstract that, but like if you look at like social like smart contract wallets and stuff like that, they're really limited. They're only going to be focusing like on one network, so you kind of like not having like all the potential of Web3 like within your hands. So I think there are a few things we can do, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to require some education. And if you think about it, it's not that crazy to think that like if you want to be in full control of your funds, you actually need to understand like the basic concept of being able to actually like secure them yourself and having the responsibility of dealing with your seed phrase. I don't think it's that crazy. If you look at the first guy that must have like drove like a Ford, I'm not sure it was that easy for him to drive the Ford. Like I'm not sure it was that easy for us to use like internet when it just went out. And I don't think it's that easy either to open a bank account today. Like you have to go through like a lot of things. When you do your taxes, you have to go through a lot of things. Not everyone has a tax accountant. So there is always like a part of complexity that comes with innovation. We can abstract as much as we can, but there are things that like we probably need education and knowledge from the users. That's my take on it.
Fantastic. So with the plugin that's currently available, where can listeners download that and get involved with what's currently available? And also, when will they be able to find out? Well, where should they go to keep updated as to when the mobile app is going to be available?
So best is to go on XDEFI.io. So XDEFI.io, you can access the Chrome store via this page and download the extension. For the web app, it's app.xdefi.io. Okay, so just add app before xdefi.io. And then follow us on Twitter, join the Discord. We super like engage with our communities, like share your feedback, share your questions, check your concerns, anything you want. We're always happy to discuss with you. And that's where we also like send a lot of the information. We leak some UI pretty often as well, like in Discord that you won't have on Twitter. So yeah, feel free to come and talk to us, guys.
Brilliant. Well, Emile, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us today. And for this episode of the SlateCast, guys, we will see. Well, that's it, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks.